Gamal Abdel Gawad, Professor of Political Science at the American University in Cairo, where Arab leaders have been meeting. So first of all, just give us your perspective on this proposal, which, as I was just saying, it does seem to kind of skip phase 2 and it gets to phase 3, which is rebuilding Gaza. But what do you make of the plan that's been put together?
Well, I think the reconstruction part, meaning the engineering part, is the easy challenge in this plan. I think the most difficult challenge and the serious challenge is the political part of it. How to re-engineer the political situation in Gaza and in the Palestinian territories, the occupied Palestinian territories in general, so that we would create a sort of a bridge that takes us from the current situation, which is really gloomy situation, to a more to a future situation where there is a political possibilities of advancing toward a two-state solution, toward the coexistence between a Palestinian state and the state of Israel. Of course, the gap between the current moment and the envisioned future is quite big, but this is the envisioned function of this proposal likely to be approved by the Arab governments participating in the Arab Summit today.
You said a couple of things there. One, the re-engineering of the political situation, and two, the sort of the difference in the way that both sides are viewing this. I mean, I would call this a massive disconnect, and it's very easy how to re-engineer the political situation if the US and Israel, because they say, well, there won't be any Palestinians in Gaza, so there's nothing to re-engineer. And obviously, it's viewed very differently by Palestinians and by Arab supporters. How do you bridge that gulf in the way that this situation is viewed?
Well, the American position, which is now backed by Israel and adopted by Israel, that Gaza should be evacuated from Palestinians, this is a non-starter for the Arab world, for any government in the Arab world, and the Americans are denying that this is about ethnic cleansing, and arguing that this is for the sake of reconstruction, that the only way to reconstruct Gaza is to evacuate it.
Sorry to interrupt you, but can I just ask, because it seemed obvious to even a layman that nobody involved was ever going to accept such a ridiculous suggestion. Do you think they genuinely thought people might buy into this? Why even put the idea out there?
Well, the idea, I think, is essentially used as an instrument to exert pressure on the Palestinians and essentially on Arab governments, so that to force them to come forward, make concessions, and get along with the Israeli demands. The Israelis, on the other hand, now, since the idea of evicting the Palestinians from Gaza gaining some sort of a legitimacy because it has been suggested by the American president, now they are building up on this issue. They are essentially, what they are trying to do is to turn Gaza Strip more and more into unlivable, a place that cannot sustain any human life, and then open venues and possibilities for Palestinians to voluntarily, between brackets, move out of Gaza. The only way for them to do that is to continue fighting, is to deny the people of Gaza any support or humanitarian aid, of course, to obstruct any plan for reconstruction. So the main challenge here, that we are talking about Gaza, but the sides are really on in completely different positions. So we are not about plans that try to develop cooperation between the different sides, but rather talking about proposals, and the counter proposals mean the antithesis of the proposal. This is the challenge that we are facing. Gaining time here is quite important, because setting the stage for something better than what we see in Gaza now require more time than what the Americans are suggesting, putting like a quite very short horizon for this. And I think this is tactically one of the things that the Arab leaders meeting in Cairo today are trying to gain.
I just want to discuss the way that Israel behaves whilst these negotiations go on. I'm not an expert in humanitarian law and international law, but having researched this, I'm pretty sure, pretty confident that what they are doing, for example, in the occupied West Bank, is a war crime. When you forcibly, it's illegal under international law to forcibly displace people from their homes. If we look at how Israel's behaving in Gaza, some people will argue they've tried to do the same thing in Gaza by making it inhospitable. Some will say, well, they're inviting them to leave. But also at the same time, they've cut off now aid in terms of they've cut off water, they've cut off food, they've cut off fuel. Now, I don't know where that fits into humanitarian law, but how do you assess the way they are behaving, and will they be held accountable for this?
Well, definitely these are major violations of international law of human rights and the war. But the problem is that the United States is not really playing a constructive role in that. In the past, we used to have like two different positions, Israeli, Palestinians, and then the Americans come in, try to bridge the gap between them. So in many occasions in the past, yes, America played a constructive role, even though it was always taking the Israeli side or closer to the Israeli side. The challenge now is that we lost the United States. The United States is identifying itself more with the Israeli position. Actually, the United States is quite overbidding the Israelis. The idea of expelling Palestinians from Gaza Strip never came out of by an Israeli politician, except some on the very fringes on the right side. But now with the Americans talking about it, Israel feel more secure and protected when going maximalist. The Israelis now on a mood of maximum gains, the full denial and violation of complete denial and violation of law of human rights and international law. Unfortunately, the current vision of the United States about the international system doesn't allow much room for rules for international law. And this is very, very conducive and suitable for Israel to seek the maximum of its goals, the controlling the entire area of historical Palestine, the mandated Palestine, get rid of the Palestinians or as much as of Palestinians as it could, send them to Egypt, to Jordan, or in any other place that could accept them. So this is definitely not conducive for serious progress. But what we are trying, what the Arab governments are trying now, is to somewhat mitigate the situation, lubricate the current difficulties, trying to provide some sort of a bridge again between the very gloomy current situation and some sort of a future with better possibilities.
Gamal, thank you so much for joining me. My guest, Gamal Abdel Gawad, Professor of Political Science at the American University in Cairo.